It's been, what, 3 years now since you started this project? Is that right?
I would say, yeah, 3 years, including like pre-production and doing everything we needed to do to get to this point. So yeah, it's been a long journey. But one of the neat things I noticed in my editing process is that it's helped the film, because in some stories, in some elements, I actually use like the time. So I'll be like, this interview's 2017, and this interview's 2018. So it gives a bit of a chronological order to some of the stories and events that unfold. So unintentionally, yeah, 3 years worked out okay.
No, right on. And your web series is launching this week. So this is it. This is what you've been building up to now for some time. It was more than a year ago now, I guess, that you showed the feature cut at the Playhouse, and then you mentioned the web series then. Now here it is. It's opening this week. Can you tell me what can people expect?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I knew that doing a project like this was a unique experience for myself, but especially to the people in the community. And I don't think, I guess for myself, I recognize that some of these productions can take a while. And for some people in the community, I felt they needed almost an immediate experience to kind of feel like, you know, this project's real, it's a real thing. So I knew putting the Playhouse event last April, or I guess a year and a couple of weeks ago, was really for the community to kind of showcase them what I consider to be a long-form trailer. And I think I confused some people, because some people thought that was it. Even though no matter how many times I said it, this was just a piece. And maybe at the Playhouse screening, I shouldn't have like yelled at people at the end and said, "Stick around, I got something to tell you." And anyway, I realized, I guess, at this point that this project has shaped itself for what I think will be a really interesting rollout of content. And basically, the idea behind it is for people to be able to piece together their own kind of their own experience by choosing the content that they want to follow. Some people may want to watch the whole thing. Other people may only be interested in pieces of it. So yeah, I feel like what people have seen up to this point have been trailers. Now they get a chance to see like what the meat of the whole thing is.
So this week, first of all, this is episodic, right? You're going to be putting out episodes, how many a week?
We're looking at right now trying to put 3 out a week, one on Monday, one on Wednesday, and one on Friday.
How long are these?
Between 5 and 10 minutes each.
Whoa.
And we're looking at probably 300 episodes, which is a lot.
Yes.
But the thing is that these stories are really interesting, and I want everyone that participated in it to have their voice heard. And I think that what I realize is when you're cutting a film version or a traditional episodic like story or episode, which is like on television an hour, so you're editing a lot out. And I felt that this project really, the voices need to be heard. So it's a long form journey made up of pieces, and that's it.
Is that because you know most of the people that you've interviewed, and you feel like an obligation to include them in the series, or like is that how it got to be so big? 300 episodes?
Well, to be honest with you, there's still, believe it or not, stuff I'm editing out. There's still lots to edit out. So it's not like I'm just throwing raw content up on there. I'm still editing and taking the best pieces out and making sure that the only thing for me, I'm not afraid to edit anyone out or anything out, but I truly, as I work, you know, people that are sincere and really put the effort in putting themselves out there, I think I have an obligation to make sure that their voices are heard. So the point is that yes, I do take editorial
liberties to
chop stuff up and to make things actually watchable and exciting in my eyes. And I think at the same time, though, we worked hard. Like this is legitimately as big as it sounds. It's not like 300, like you're getting everything. It's just that there's that much to give.
Because you discovered a story within a story within a story as you were going? Is that sort of? I remember we talked about this. We've been talking about this back and forth since you started this project. And one of the things that really stood out to me was how you said that you've embraced the fact that it's going to be fluid and that it's not going to be. And we've seen like the idea, like the initial idea has shifted, and you've guided that. But inside of that, you've also been very open to, if a new angle came up from a conversation, you seemed to have no problem just completely shifting gears and embracing something new that you maybe hadn't even heard of the other day,
Absolutely. I've learned so much about the music scene and the music community that a lot of voices I discovered in the process of making the project, as you said. And I do have I have an openness to my own creativity to allow myself the room for change or the room to allow things to evolve naturally or organically. So yeah, I think that there's still many stories that could be told that I can't. Like, that's a fact. There's a lot. The history is very rich.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this is a portal. If anything, this is, I wouldn't call it the definitive, I guess, the definitive work of our scene. I think it's more still an introductory kind of showcase of what is out there.
So week one, what are you? Can you tell us anything about what episodes are coming out?
There's performance videos where I interview bands and show their performances, and then there's mini docs that in some cases will be in parts. So it'll be could be part 1, part 2, all the way up to part 10, in terms of a certain theme or a certain person that we're following.
Like music education or record collecting or something like that. You dig a little deeper into those, and because you can't do it all in one episode.
Right, and again, it's kind of naturally allowing the story tell itself. I think what makes this project unique and what makes it organic is the fact that I'm taking my time. And I think that the reason, even to this day, I'm still editing pieces of it. I'll be editing this project for the next 8 months until the rollout is complete. It's not like it's completed.
Right.
It's still in process.
You don't have all these episodes on a hard drive just waiting to be flipped up.
No, my good friend Bruce O'Gro made a joke earlier about how I did it in my own time. I did it reverse than what a lot of people do, where traditionally, you're trying to take all these pieces and coming out with a long form, like a film or whatever. But I'm actually doing almost extras on a DVD. I'm almost bringing that stuff out first, and then bringing it all together later. It's kind of like threading itself.
Well, I kind of feel like the film that you showed, like the long cut, was maybe I feel like all these webisodes are extras on a DVD. Like, you've kind of painted the picture. You showed us a story of music in the community and the important way that it affects the lives of so many different people in so many different ways. That's a beautiful story. And now you're like, oh yeah, now you can go through the sub-menus and we'll look at this individual story, or we'll look at this individual subculture within the subculture and explore that a little bit. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. What makes it unique, I think, is that for me, as you know, as being a good friend of mine, I have a lot of, I'm a sensitive guy, so I have a lot of empathy towards my subjects and the people that I'm telling the story with. So for me, there is a true, no one should ever be worried that's in this project to ever be seen in an unfavorable light, because I'm not being critical of anybody, but it's not being naive, and it's not being this is truly me trying to guide these voices into showing this unified kind of community, that in a way that I think is quite unique, by allowing my own person, like myself, being a part of it. It's almost like it's coming through me, and I'm taking the pieces together for people to kind of to highlight these moments in people's lives. It's not my story, it's their story, but I can't help but have a big part of myself.
Yeah.
Now with the Capital or with CBC, just to say quickly, CBC picked up an episode, an hour-long one. Hopefully they'll do more. There's talks, maybe they will.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is that they're very excited about this project, and it's going to be coming out July. I don't know if I'm supposed to say. It will come out in the press release. It's going to be airing on the Atlantic side of like the maritime CBC. But then there's talks about it going national, which is they really want to do that. I think they're very excited. And the reason why I bring that up is that going back to this process of how I'm doing it is that it's very unique. The Capital Project is very unique to CBC because it's part multimedia, it's part YouTube, it's part and then it's also part traditional media. So it's a hybrid of how people watch content. And for CBC, I think they're excited that in a way that this is an innovative project that doesn't follow their traditional norms. In fact, they've allowed us a deal to have exclusivity towards our own content where we're allowed to simultaneously put the content on YouTube while they still play it on CBC, which I think I've never seen that. That's really cool.
Very respectful of your project.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, and I truly believe that the people, like this project is very special. I think that people won't necessarily at the early stages understand it till when it starts to come out, like the launch, and you start seeing how diverse this content is, and you start to realize that, this project is definitely something that is unique.
Okay, so how should people watch this series?
Well, it's unique that it's going to be out on YouTube, and as we discussed, like 200 or 300 different episodes. And what we've done is thematically brought everything together through color codes. So
how does that work?
Well, it's kind of like when people go and subscribe, they really should subscribe to the Capital Project channel on YouTube. But on YouTube, what it is we're creating thumbnails that people can see that have different colors. We started with like the first album series that we were kind of showing people in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, yep. You use that teal color on all the title images.
Exactly. So for different themes and showcases, we're going to have different colors to represent, what videos to kind of follow in terms of a linear.
Yellow is hip hop.
Right.
Black is metal.
Not quite similar to that, but not, because it's so big, right? Like genres. I'll have one just genres, and that will include like all of those. And then we'll have ones on music education, and that will have its own thing. And we're actually developing it, as no surprise, as we go. So there is kind of, but really the idea is you subscribe to the channel, you'll get to see 3 new videos for the next few months through Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And it's going to be basically choose your own adventure. It's, if someone wants to watch just the bands and their performances, they can watch that sub-channel. If people want to just hear about music education, they can just watch that sub-channel. So we're trying our best to keep it fresh, but I think it's really important for people to know that in order for this project to really do well, people have to share it and celebrate it and push it. Because as Maritimers, and especially as New Brunswickers, we're not very good at selling ourselves. We're not very good at promoting ourselves in a way that I think the rest of the world needs to see. And I think that in order for this project to get farther out there, besides our own community, we need everyone to push it. And by subscribing means you show support. By subscribing brings the numbers up. So hopefully other YouTube influencers will see that channel and do a story on it, or we'll start to take it further. So yeah, it has to start from home. So for the first 3 months and 4 months of this rollout, we are looking for local support in the terms of getting it out there. So hopefully people, after they watch this, will immediately go onto YouTube, check out our channel, and subscribe. And that to me is the best support you can give this project.
I don't know if there's a way we can put the subscribe link in the comments or any, like, I understand any of that, hocus pocus, but if we can figure it out, we'll figure out how to do that. But you should certainly subscribe to the Capital Project. If this is the first time you've heard about it, it's sick. It'll blow your mind. And if you've heard about it since it became an idea, you'll be thankful that you can finally start to see the major fruits of the labor here. It's exciting, Tim. Have you put the brakes on collecting new content for this? Have you decided, because you shot a lot, have you got to the point where, I was at your house once and your wife said, no more filming, like you have to use what you have, and I think that was
probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? No, because actually, I'll share you something recently was that I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and her husband is part of a group that plays music with soldiers who deal with
PTSD?
Yeah, PTSD.
Yeah.
And I started speaking to those people, and now I'm going to film them because I think that I do a whole thing on mental health and how music can be therapy, and they're very excited to be a part of the project and to share their stories.
So is it fair to say that this is like, because of the size and the scope, and as a friend and as people in the community that have watched this project go, we want to say like this is Tim's life work, because it sounds to me like you could think up a new idea for a new episode today, and you would go shoot it and work it into the thing. But this is not your life work. You're a young filmmaker. What? I guess.
When do I call quits?
When do you call it quits? Exactly. Like this story goes big and big and big.
You know what? I can't really say exactly when that will be, but at least during this launch.
And I'm not saying I want you to call it quits.
No.
But I'm thinking like for your own health.
Sanity. Yeah. No, it's been a tough road, definitely mentally, psychologically. But I think that for me though. If I feel strongly that a certain story needs to be included that elevates the whole project, then I'm going to try my best to do that. But I said no to many other opportunities that were presented to me. I've also stopped myself from going after, but there will be things that I still need to follow up on, let's say. But my hope is, and as you know, we've discussed this for years, my hope is I think at the end of the rollout, that's the day I let it go. So I still have another year of this project to live with, and I realize that. But it deserves it. It's been a part of my life and my business partner's life, like Arthur Thompson and Bruce LeGros and Andrew Bravner and so many other people have contributed to this project over the years, that I feel that it's only right for me to, what I think is make a work that could last, could have longevity and be an archival project that could last a test of time.
Oh yeah, it's a serious cultural document of what is happening today, but also what has happened to get us to this point, and it'll probably be a window to where we go from here as a music community.
It's a sociological document.
Yeah.
And I truly think that this project is meta. I think it's not just about Fredericton. It's not about local artists. This is a cultural phenomenon that's happening around the world. I truly think that with the right eyes and the people that actually can appreciate what this project really is, this is bigger than all of us. And, will it be discovered over the next year? Who knows? But I truly believe that its cultural relevance is huge, and I don't think that it's because I made it. It's because of the people in it, and this is bigger than all of us. And I think that it's so different. I expect people to understand what I'm thinking, and sometimes I feel like I get paranoid and I'm alienated and I'm alone. But I think that eventually people will see what it's all about.
Where do you go from here? Would your next project be a 300 episode web series?
Well, this is like Ken Burns territory. But I don't. It's really funny. I think how my mind works. I've been very lucky to do this project based on that alone, and I love writing fictional stories, as you know. I like doing fictional films, and I also enjoy people's stories. So I can't really tell you if I'm going to become this documentary filmmaker now, or I'm going to be doing fictional films. I hope to be able to do both because my heart is in writing. I love writing so much. But, I don't know.
Well, it's kind of a full circle thing if you think of it, because a lot of the music that you talked about in this project deal with musicians who don't feel bound by convention and tradition and want to take their art in their own ways. And obviously you are an artist in that the way that this work developed didn't follow, didn't follow the foundation that it was on Monday was different than the one that was on Friday, and you were cool with that. And that, I think that's just it's a great testament of your own work and your own willingness to not play by the book and to not follow tradition. So if you told me that your next project would be a 13-part mini-series on hubcaps, but only in 30-second episodes, I would be cool. I'm into that, Tim. I can't wait to see it.
I
have confidence in wherever you go, I guess, from here.
You know what? I really appreciate it, and I just to say, I appreciate your support, and I appreciate the people who have been supporting me all the way through, and I think there's a punk rock element to my mentality, and I know that this is not to be corny. I just think that. It's funny, some people challenge me, oh, this seems conventional maybe, but this is extremely experimental in so many ways, this project. It's very punk rock in its own way. Now, the stories may not come off as punk rock. They might be sentimental. They may have elements of inspiration. This is truly about breaking the rules and doing things differently and DIY culture. This project represents what it shows.
Well, congrats on it, man. It's been a wild ride to follow you to this point, and now we get to sit back and actually watch the series, and I can't wait.
Well, thanks, Matt, and thanks, Grid City.